And Kabul and Islamabad trade the blame over failed Istanbul talks while affirming that the ceasefire between the two countries remains in place. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sent a cabal of greetings to His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni of the Kingdom of Cambodia on his country's National Day. A total of 13 projects were attracted by Al Mazuna Free Zone during the current year, with an investment value exceeding 400,000 Omani Rials. Here is a report.
13 projects were attracted by Al Mazuna Free Zone during the current year, with an investment value exceeding 400,000 Omani Rials. This brings the cumulative investment in the zone to more than 140 million Omani Rials by the end of last October. Additionally, 144 lease contracts have been signed, distributed across industrial, service, and commercial activities. Al Mazuna Free Zone is currently finalizing the operational launch of the animal quarantine facility in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Wealth and Water Resources. Trial operations are expected to begin in the last quarter of this year. At the same time, 80% of the water desalination plant project has been completed, with operations expected to commence before the end of this year. The volume of goods imported and exported in the zone increased by about 22% year-on-year by the end of last September, with a total weight of nearly 228,500 tons. Additionally, the number of vehicles imported and exported saw an increase of about 40%. Al Mazuna Free Zone has announced a tender for the project to manage and operate the duty-free market for specialized companies. This aims to activate the direct sales feature and provide services for travelers crossing the border between the Sultanate of Oman and the Friendly Republic of Yemen.
And now for international news. The Israeli occupation army continues to carry out airstrikes and bombard buildings in the areas of Khan Yunis and Rafah as the humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip escalates. Humanitarian organizations said that the Israeli occupation forces are still imposing strict restrictions on the entry of aid, noting that only 4,453 aid trucks have entered the strip since the ceasefire began, out of an expected 15,700 trucks. They pointed out that this severe shortage is directly affecting the lives of Palestinians who are suffering from difficulty in obtaining food and water, while hospitals are operating at the limits of their capacity, unable to meet the needs of patients and the wounded. At least 2 people were killed and others injured in an Israeli bombing in Lebanon. An Israeli drone fired 2 guided missiles at a car near Salah Ghandour Hospital in Bint Jibail, southern Lebanon, as part of a series of attacks launched by the Israeli army. The Israeli army, for its part, announced that its airstrikes targeted Hezbollah military sites in southern Lebanon, claiming that the attacks were intended to counter Hezbollah's prohibited attempts to rebuild its activities in the area. The Pakistani and Afghani governments announced the failure of bilateral talks between the two countries, which were held in Istanbul with the aim of reaching a permanent peace agreement to stop the fighting. A spokesperson for the Afghan government said the latest round of negotiations has reached a dead end, blaming Islamabad for the failure due to what he described as irresponsible and uncooperative approach. For his part, the Pakistani defense minister said that Kabul during the talks was not prepared to sign any agreement guaranteeing that no attacks would be launched from Afghan territory, which resulted in no progress being made in the negotiations, noting that the ceasefire would remain in place unless any attacks occurred. Russia urged the United States on yesterday to clarify what it called contradictory signals about a resumption of nuclear testing, saying such a step would trigger responses from Russia and other countries. Vasily Nebenzia, Russia's permanent representative to the United Nations, said that his country is closely monitoring the situation and is prepared for all eventualities in case the nuclear testing resume. President Donald Trump last week ordered the U.S. military to immediately restart the process for testing nuclear weapons, but he did not make clear if he meant a fight or flight testing of nuclear-capable missiles or a resumption of tests involving nuclear explosions, something neither the U.S. nor Russia has done for more than 3 decades. Ukrainian emergency officials said 2 people were killed while 11 others, including 2 children, were injured in a Russian air attack on Ukraine's Dnipro today. Russia launched 450 drones and 45 missiles in overnight attacks on Ukraine today, targeting the energy sector and other infrastructure. President Vladimir Zelensky said Zelensky reiterated his call on Kiev's allies to introduce stronger sanctions against the Russian energy sector. And now for more local news. The Duqm refinery, located within the special economic zone at Duqm, has increased its production capacity by 10% since commencing full operations. The refinery has exported more than 560 shipments of petroleum products to global markets. To learn more, here is a report from Afra Al-Nu'mani.
The Duqm refinery stands today as a national model of industrial excellence and sustainable operations, strengthening Oman's position on the global energy map. The refinery aims to increase its production capacity by 10%, surpassing the current 255,000 barrels per day, by leveraging its operational efficiency and maximizing the use of existing assets without new capital expansion, in line with top international standards. Since commencing full operations within the Special Economic Zone at Duqm, the refinery has exported more than 560 shipments of petroleum products to international markets. In August alone, exports reached around 295,000 barrels per day, the highest monthly rate since operations began, reflecting stable performance and international confidence in the refinery's high-quality diesel, naphtha, jet fuel, and liquefied petroleum gas. The Duqm refinery has diversified its crude feedstock beyond Omani and Kuwaiti sources, processing 11 types of crude so far, including Iraq's Basra crude and varieties from West Africa. This diversification has increased the added value of lower margin products, boosted middle distillate production, and reduced lighter products, aligning with global trends toward cleaner and more efficient fuels. Beyond industrial performance, the refinery continues to lead in environmental sustainability and community development. It generates over 6 gigawatt-hours of solar power annually, converts 85% of hazardous waste into energy, and has reused 3.4 million cubic meters of water while planting more than 2,000 seedlings last year. Economically, it has spent nearly 160 million Omani riyals on local procurement, 15 million of which were directed to small and medium enterprises, while implementing more than 30 community initiatives across education, health, the environment, youth development, and entrepreneurship.
The Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning is seeking to manage and organize the urban expansion that the wilayas of South Al-Sharqiya Governorate are witnessing in line with the National Urban Development Strategy 2040. They aim to ensure the equitable distribution of services and the provision of a modern sustainable living environment. The Integrated Residential Neighborhoods Initiative Suruh will be introduced in South Sharqiya Governorate through two projects, Hay Nasmat Zain in the Wilayah of Sur and Hay Al Falah in the Wilayat Ja'lan Bani Bu Ali. The Hay Nasmat Zain projects will reflect the architectural character of the Wilayah of Sur. It will be established over an area exceeding 260,000 square meters, comprising diverse housing units. As for Hay Al Falah project, it will extend over an area of 200,000 square meters, including 188 housing units. These modern projects reflect the Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning's commitment to building sustainable cities that achieve balanced development and enhance the quality of life for citizens. The Geological Society of Oman held its 10th edition of the Geo Challenger competition in the Wadi Al Ma'adin in the Wilayah of Nizwa to acquaint the earth sciences and petroleum engineering students in the universities of Oman with the principles of mining and petroleum mapping, modeling and development. Here is more on that.
Oman's environment is known for its diverse topography and unique geological features, offering a natural setting for scientific study and exploration. Recognizing this, the Geological Society of Oman selected Wadi Al Mu'aydin in the Wilayah of Nizwa as the site for the 10th Geo Challenger competition. 48 students representing earth sciences and petroleum engineering disciplines from universities across the country gathered to study the geological formations of the valley.
We bring in these students, specifically this year now, to Wadi Al Mu'aydin, where we basically divide them into groups. These working groups, they look at geological cross-section, they map it out. Afterwards, we take them basically into work in syndicates, and they start drafting what is so-called a field strategy note in order to develop and come up basically with development ideas for this specific cross-section or basically feed later on, allocating wells and basically understanding how things can be developed in the oil and gas industry, mapping uncertainties and so on.
Divided into teams, participants conducted field mapping, structural analysis, and geological modeling, applying classroom knowledge directly to real-world formations.
The students will study the Shu'aib formation for 3 days. So basically this competition is aiming to introduce the students to the diverse of geology in Wadi Mu'aydin area. So they will study Shu'aib formation, they will try to create a field development plan and with other activities.
This experience gives us a really good opportunity to enhance our technical and geological skills, and we are currently studying the rocks formation and try to link what we see in the field to oil and gas industry. We are students from different academic background, from different majors, including air science and petroleum engineers, and also from different cultural background, and that will make this opportunity even more enriched.
At the end of the exercise, each team will present its findings to a panel of experts from academia and industry. Beyond technical skills, the competition fostered teamwork, critical thinking, and communication, core competencies for students preparing to enter the energy and geoscience sectors. In this landscape, carved by deep time, Oman's future geologists prepare to unlock the nation's energy potential, grounded in the rock below. Reporting from Wadi Al Mu'aydin in the Wilayah of Nizwa, this is Salih Bakhalfan Al-Rahbi, Al-Dakhiliya, Governorate.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty the Sultan sends a cabal of greetings to His Majesty the King of the Kingdom of Cambodia on the occasion of his country's National Day. The cumulative investments in Al Mazuna Free Zone exceeded 140 million Omani Rials by the end of October. And internationally, Kabul and Islamabad trade blame over failed Istanbul talks, while affirming that the ceasefire between the two countries remains in place. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us, and good night.